We got, this is going to be a retro review of Sonic the Hedgehog Archives Volume 9 and 11, which cover, let me see if I can look these up right here. Sonic the Hedgehog issues 33 through 36, and I think this is number 11. So this one happens before the events of Endgame. I think Endgame is volume 13. Let's go through, we're going to go through these two. You remember Jeffrey St. John, don't you? Yeah. Oh, I shouldn't mention his name, otherwise I'll have to pay Ken Penders. Anyway, we're going to look through these two. I couldn't find Archives volume number 10. These are from my comic book store in Alhambra, California. So there's not a lot of, there weren't a whole bunch of them to find, but I found what I could. And here we have a table of contents. I'll show this a little bit. I'll zoom in to show you. Here we have all the different, see the big picture. Oh, hold on. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Big picture, Sonic Shot, Sonic the Hedgehog, a sense of history, special features, sense of history. So we got all these different stories. Most of these are funny comics. This is actually the book I picked up has these stories at the end of it. But these are the last of these color funny comic strip kind of Sunday funnies, kind of Sonic the Hedgehog. You can see him running all over the place. This is the episode when his friends got sick and they had these antibodies, I guess it's Rotor's aunt in germ form taking out the germ, or antibody form taking out the germs so that everybody can get better. And here is the ant. I guess this is Rotor's aunt, I guess. Looks like the creature from the Lamisil commercials, doesn't it? The Lamisil monster here. And here she is saving all the friends. Everybody's relieved. Here's the time Snively was, I don't know, I guess he wanted to play around with Sonic or compete against Sonic in hockey. This is when Ken Penders was drawing. God, Ken Penders' proportions were all over the fucking place, weren't they? Here's another shot. Here's a really pivotal issue dealing with Sonic and his Uncle Chuck. Here's where the stories got really much more serious and much more dynamic. I mean, Ken Penders' art is whatever it is, but you got to really appreciate this art here. You got Dulcie the Dragon. You got the friends. They're going to team up against Robotnik again. Here we got good old Princess Sally. We got... I think this is the one, I think, where Uncle Chuck and Mutsky escape, but then they have to go back, and they go back as spies for Robotnik. Or they're not spies for Robotnik, they're spies for Sonic in Robotnik's headquarters. But they try to free the other animals. But it's very hard to de-roboticize. You can get back their free will, but to de-roboticize is next to impossible. Here's a Knuckles story with these really, I mean, Jesus Christ. Pencils, Ken Penders. Yeah, that's why the damn thing doesn't work. You got to draw your proportions better. This looks like a 12-year-old's concept. This looks like the way I used to draw when I was 18. Yes, I used to draw back then. I do like the Future City, though. But, yeah, no. Ken Penders owns all these echidnas, except for just one or two. Can you figure out which one or two Ken Penders doesn't own? Here's another great Sonic issue with Sonic in the billionth ring. It's another classic Robotnik versus Sonic fight. Now this one, I think I showed this before in the black and white treasury of Sonic comics. This is supposed to be King Acorn, Princess Sally's dad, trapped in the netherworld after Grand Ixis Nagus put him in there. And if you know the story, King Acorn owes a debt to Nagus in exchange for getting out of the void. This was a very twisted story. I like the art from here. This is where you really started to see the seriousness. It went from, um, went from like Dick Sprang to Neil Adams, if you get the reference. Okay, so here we have, you know, Prince John, Prince John, Jeffrey St. John. Remember when Jeffrey St. John was kidnapped and or no, possessed by Grand Ixis Nagus? And we have Sonic. He's always trying to steal Princess Sally away. And here we have him bungee jumping. That's ridiculous. He's never done that in the games. More of the fighting. Why are the proportions weird? Again, the proportions are weird. I remember later on, I would see Rotor the Walrus have this really pushed in small face. It never really worked. And you want to talk about more bad proportions. But I like the outfit. I like the design of it. I just don't like that King Max is 6 feet. It looks like a guy wearing a mask. They get King Max out in time, but barely. And we have some really bad proportions. Coupled with this really nice cover. Really nice. Look at that design. Here is Sleuth Doggy Dog. And it seems like he's doing the right things, right? But then he's, oh, what a bad dog. You're a bad doggy. Yeah, no shit about that. So King Max, as everybody remembers, is undergoing this sickness with the emerald, the Master Emerald. And, Tails points out that it looks just like the Master Emerald, so they try to see if they can use that to cure him. But it's, like I say, he goes from bad to worse. Just like the focus on this camera. Ken Penders owns one of these characters. Can you guess which one? We got the Ancient Walkers. I guess it's more of Knuckles' backstory. I like the new backstory, or the ones after the reboot. We start to get a little more serious. This fight between King Max and Robotnik. This is where he was Warlord Julian Kinteber, and this is a whole Game of Thrones thing. Just look at this. This is far, far, far from issue number 0, right? Still trying to find a cure for King Max's ailments. We introduced to the I think it's Dr. Quack. Everyone remembers Dr. Quack. I think Ken Penders owns Dr. Quack. Now here we get into this whole. Now, if people remember, I think I remembered well that issue number 0 introduced Sonic and Sally together, united them. But here, they were always like together, like as kids, and they lived in Knothole Village, and there's this whole this is where I call this the Silver Age Sonic. This is the Silver Age of Sonic the Hedgehog, because now the continuity has changed a bit. We're introduced to the, the mom, I think. We have the mom. Oh, no, actually, that's, I forgot her name. I forget her. I'm not going to remember everybody's names. But I know that's not the mom. I think that's the nursemaid. But, yeah, this is just a lot of dark stuff. This is too dark, you think, right? You think about it, if you go back to issue 0, 1, 2, 3, it was a silly comic strip comic. Now we're getting to some really dark, really 1970s kind of stuff. This is where Sonic goes into a virtual world or goes into the mind of King Max and tries to rescue him, tries to save his soul. so that he can come back and rule. And the results are mixed. You had Warlord Kodos, and then you have Feist, and some other characters. It gets, I mean, the continuity gets a little bit screwy, but, you know, this is a very Game of Thrones kind of thing. Here we get another look at the anti-Sonic and anti-Knuckles. Like I said, I mean, if the cover, I forgot the cover artist's name, but if this guy had done the art inside, that would have been fantastic. Maybe he charged more money. I'm not sure. But that's where we're at. I love this gun. Here's the last page to this. We get some more of Anti-Sonic. And then I might pick up some more issues. I'm not sure yet. We have pictures of Sleuth, Doggy Dog, Feist, and some more issues. That's about it. Now for these, I guess, you know, they're not too bad. I'll give these two, I'll give them an 8 out of 10. And that's being generous because Ken Penders does some shitty art. Both of these two together are like 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for each one, 8 together. They're not bad. So if you can find them, find them. If you want to collect these. For now, what I'm doing is I'm not going to collect the Knuckles issues. Forget that. I'm not collecting the Knuckle the Echidna stories. I don't think I'm going to get the Tail stories. The only ones I'm going to get are Sonic the Hedgehog stories, and that's it. And I'll pick up some of the other ones that were Sonic Universe trade. I saw another one that took place as Ian Flynn started coming in like Flynn stories, and when Ken Penders had to leave. So I'll get some of those books. But for now, enjoy these. You know, don't mention Jeffrey, because if you mention Jeffrey's name, you have to pay Ken Penders $10 every time you say it out of your mouth in YouTube. So anyway, okay, 8 out of 10. Take care.